This is BoomerIncomeIdeas.com.
If you're in today's job market, let me introduce you to a term that you might not be familiar with. It's called career concierge. Today we're going to be talking with John Madigan and Ed Olsen of Executive Talent Services, and they're going to tell you exactly what it takes today to land that perfect job. So stay tuned. I'll say, hey Ed, thanks for joining me today. I really appreciate you being with us.
My pleasure.
I was recently talking with John, and we talked about kind of the overview of the company of ETS, and that was very informative. And what I hope to do with you is to kind of drill down a little bit and talk about the procedure, the processes and the procedures. One of the things that really kept coming back to me with the people that I talked to, and all of them were outstanding. They all raved about you guys. But one of the things that they kept coming back to was the process that you guys had that started from the very beginning with analyzing them and then taking them through an entire program that got the result that was needed. So with that, if you can you tell me a little bit about, you start off with kind of an analysis, tell me a little bit about that, and tell me where we go from there.
Yeah, I'm happy to. So when we first get to connected to a client, we spend some time in the beginning just getting a sense of where they are in their career. What's their situation currently? Are they currently working and looking for a change? Are they at a point where they've left their previous company? Some of that depends on, their age and their industry and what level they've attained, but we really want to get a sense of who they are. And because that helps us, provide the kind of advice and consultation they're looking for from us in terms of good matches, good opportunities for them to look forward into the next role. Once we sort of complete that, then we sort of go through a process, which I call getting them tooled and ready for the marketplace. So by that we mean we have to create some material for them, some product for them, mostly around their marketing material. We talk about marketing material. We divided the market into a couple of arenas. We talk about proactive marketing and reactive. Reactive is when they find a job posting and they want to apply for it. So our marketing material for that starts with their resume. And so we always start with building up the strength of their resume. Most people's resumes are not containing enough of their accomplishments. Their accomplishment statements are a reflection of how well they did their job. Most people just reflect where they worked, what their job title was, and what they were responsible for, which is fine, but we think a more intriguing, interesting resume demonstrates what they've been able to achieve. And their accomplishments are what's transferable between jobs and between industries. And so we focus a lot on that. We also have a sort of unique cover letter for when they're applying for posted positions, which allows our clients to qualify themselves more effectively for the job. A more generic cover letter is in today's world is almost useless. And in fact, it defers or defaults the qualifications of a client, of a candidate to the HR person. And the HR person doesn't typically have a really good sense of what the job is. What they understand is more of the requirements of the job. And that's not a criticism of them. They've never worked in those jobs. So they basically have been told by the hiring authority, find me people who match up well with the requirements. And so that's what they do. So it's where we start with clients is working on their marketing material. For the proactive side, which is really a networking strategy, we create a different product there. We call it our network profile. It has some resume characteristics, but it's clearly not a resume. And we don't want to send the resume into pure networking opportunities because too often the resume it has such a strong connotation of someone just looking for a job. And in the networking world, what you're not looking for in that particular session is a job. You're looking for a meeting. Right. You can get to know somebody. You're looking to be able to demonstrate your value. You're looking to be able to tap into their network. And so if you send a resume as part of that introduction, too often you don't get the meeting and the person says, we don't really have any openings right now, so I've sent your resume to HR. And that's not what you intended to do. So we create the network profile, which does contain some resume attributes, more focused on accomplishments than anything. And then it also includes what they're looking for, what kind of roles, what kind of companies, maybe some targets. And that tends to help the person they're about to meet with both understand it's not about a job, it's about a meeting, and therefore they're more inclined to take the meeting. And secondly, it also helps them prepare for the meeting because they get information on the person they're about to meet with. So once we go through marketing material, then as part of it, we provide education on a variety of topics. That's part of getting people tooled and ready. And then we also teach them how to manage their campaigns if they're in the industry or in the marketplace. Every time they've applied for a new job through a posting, it's an individual campaign. Every time they've identified a networking opportunity, it's an individual campaign. They need to understand how to manage that effectively from beginning to end. And then ultimately, when they get a job offer, we help them with negotiations to make sure that we're not leaving anything of value on the table and we get the best package that we can for them.
Got it. I know that you use a term transferable skills, and that obviously has a pretty obvious implication, but I'm thinking in terms of trying to help someone identify that their skills can be transferred from what they're doing now, which they thought was all they were really qualified to do, to doing something totally different, but using those same skills. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Sure. You're exactly right. In terms of what's transferable is your skill set. And so we have some exercises we go through, some assignments that they're part of. One of them, for example, is to identify their skill sets. And another one is to identify the breadth of their business experience. A lot of people, when they come to us, envision themselves fairly narrowly in terms of their business experience. You know, I'm a whatever I am. I'm a sales vice president. But when we start looking at themselves in terms of what kind of exposure they've had to various business topics, various business aspects of the business, by going through this exercise that we put them through, they get a better feel for the breadth of their experience. And in addition, that's helping them to identify other and new, not new, but other skill sets that they had not thought of. So we want them to be as broadly experienced candidates as we can be. And the more broad their experience is reflected, the better the candidates are. When you're changing industries, I mean, obviously the first issue is, well, from the hiring entity as well, this person doesn't have industry experience. But what we say to our candidates, our clients, is break down the job you're applying for into the component skills that are required, right? And one of them maybe is industry experience, but there's many others. And if we can make the case that our clients have got all the business experiences or the business skills that they need for the job, and the only thing you're missing is industry experience, you're presenting themselves as a client that's got literally everything else. And industry experience is a learned experience. You can learn that. The people who are currently experts in those industries weren't born with that knowledge and expertise. They developed it over a period of time. So it is a learned experience. And so we can often influence the decision by virtue of packaging our clients specifically based on their experience level. And then the single most important thing, besides being qualified for the roles, is to leverage network connectivity. So industry experience, as an example, is something that you can get around if people at that company, through a network connection, understand who you are and understand what your total package is you bring to the table. So we focus a great deal of energy on leveraging our clients' network and leveraging our network on behalf of our clients and teaching them how to do it well.
Well, I think a great example of that is a person that you've worked with in the past, whose name is Dean Jurgensen, and I had a really great conversation with him. So anyway, Dean Jurgensen, he has all these dimensions that we talk about, and that he started out as an engineer. He's a trained engineer working for corporate America. He went from that to an entrepreneurial job, and in that entrepreneurial experience, he went from engineering into business development. He was there for quite some time, which is for a lot of us what we think is the kiss of death as far as trying to get back into corporate America.
Yeah.
Yet you helped him land back into corporate America, still in business development as opposed to engineering, but I guess both, you know, his type of high-tech position or high-tech industry requires both. He just couldn't say enough good about you and how you helped him.
Yeah, Dean is a very interesting. First of all, he's a very qualified person, interesting person. I've actually worked with him on probably 2, maybe 3 of his transitions from one company to the next. And in every time we were going through that same exact situation of customizing his skill set or presenting his skill set in a customized way to the community that he was trying to, you know, become part of. And in every situation, we leverage networking a great deal for him to be able to get through the doors, get consideration, and get a running start on the job offer and a job opportunity. And he was a very good student. He learned well, and he applied what he learned well. You know, part of his engineering background is he's very organized and structured, and so what we taught him was something that he could easily relate to, and he could easily follow the process on, and it worked very well.
Everyone that I talked to kept coming back to the same term, which was networking, and that your ability to really kind of make a science out of networking and how to network is the thing that really propels them into that environment where they're finally in contact with someone who is able to provide them a job. Can you expand on that a little bit? You know, because it seems very abstract to me. All of us think of networking as, you know, something different. But I mentioned to John when I was talking to him that most of us came up during a time when, you know, there was no internet, for instance, but there was definitely no LinkedIn, no Facebook, and so forth.
Right.
So we didn't have social media networking positions and that kind of thing. It was, you know, go down to the Lions Club or the Kiwanis or something and try to meet people, and that is scary to most people.
Yeah.
I hate that personally.
Yeah. I don't blame you.
So you have a process that allows someone to get comfortable with what they need to do to network. But more importantly, helps them learn how to do it properly. So if you could expand on that a little bit. Yeah.
So we try to take the scariness out of networking because people have an incorrect perception. That they start with the perception that we're going to be asking to make a lot of cold calls and trying to open doors with people that they have no connection to, and that's not the way it is at all. Networking done in the right way is literally a business meeting. Where you're getting connected to additional people by virtue of your existing connections. So one is leading to the other. Networking is a really, really great place for particularly experienced, you know, professional people. We really can't leverage it as much if people are younger in their career, because they have to have a certain you know, business experience and presence and be comfortable in the conversations they're about to have. Two business people talking about common denominator things, things they have in common associated with the business. The purpose of the network meeting doesn't start with the presence of a job. It starts with the connection and having people become comfortable with our clients. So what we say to clients is, you're not there for today's job. You're there to position yourself to be a strong candidate for a job that's going to develop down the road. Now, down the road could be measured in days or weeks or months. But if it's done right, I've had plenty of clients, actually have had clients in their first network meeting with no job on the table at the time of the meeting, at the beginning of the meeting, before the end of that meeting, there was a job being talked about. And it became that client's job. That's an example of a job that never hit the light of day. I mean, it never was published as a posting, because the hiring manager was very comfortable with my client and basically said, this is the guy I want. And so it was his job. And interestingly enough, in the networking world, jobs tend to get created more around the individual than in the posting world. In the posting world, the candidates are customizing themselves around the job, positioning themselves to be a great candidate for that specific job. And that's fine, and that's what they should do. But in the proactive networking world, when a job surfaces out of that, more often than not, the job is more customized around the person, around the candidate. And that's really exciting. And then people end up with jobs that are really customized for them, and things that they really can thrive and do extremely well in. So it's an interesting place, and it's very important in both the both the proactive and reactive marketplace, and it will make a difference. What we say, almost every client that lands ultimately a job, we sort of always track it back and say, well, how did that all come about? And in that series of events that resulted in the job offer and a job acceptance, there is almost always some influence of networking that takes place, either through the client's network or through our network, or a combination of the two. So it is one of the most important things that we teach, and that we want to get people comfortable with, so that they can do a great job with it. And most experienced professionals, learn very quickly, become very comfortable in that, and have great success.
Now, I also understand from the people that I talk to that another one of your attributes is that you stay with these people all the way through until they get placed. You're with them. In fact, Dean mentioned that you were not only there, but you talked them off the cliff a few times.
Well, there's a lot of truth to that. I view it as a partnership,
Yeah.
right? I mean, so so we work together with our clients on an individual basis. So everything we do is basically one-on-one for the most part. It's a trying time. I mean, finding a job in today's world, we always say is not for the faint of heart, right? I mean, it's a difficult thing. And so having someone that's serving as your partner is very helpful. And our experience is, it's different than, for example, having your spouse be your partner, because your spouse is too, personally connected, as they should be, and emotionally involved. And so we're more one step away from that, and we're more objective, and we can be candid with our clients, and we often are, in terms of what they need to do, what's not going right, what they have to change. Our job is to help them be successful. So we're going to point out those things that they need to adjust to help them be successful, and to keep them from being too, believe it or not, from being too high or too low. So we have clients sometimes who come back from a great meeting or a great interview and are so excited about that opportunity, they're going to shut down everything else, right? Because I know I'm going to get that job, and I'm talking them off the shelf there to say, no, it's not done until it's in your pocket. It's not done until you accept. So let's keep everything else going. So I have to take them down from that level of euphoria. And obviously, the talking off the cliff comes from the other side of the spectrum. It's a very frustrating process. And it's just very helpful to have a partner that is looking out for you, working with you. And we can say, look, this is not the end of the world. If you didn't get this job or you didn't get this opportunity, there are others out there. Let's just keep firing away. And we do stay with them. I mean, our job is to help them be successful. And success we defined as they define it in many ways, but almost always ends up with an employment opportunity.
Right. Well, I think that if anyone is questioning whether or not they need this type of service, I think they only need to look as far as, right now the Olympics is going on, and these major athletes are performing at superhuman levels.
Yeah.
Every one of them has a coach.
Or multiple coaches.
And so this to me is exactly the same thing. It's that important. I think it's absolutely an essential service. I'm happy to be associated with you guys.
Yeah, we're happy to be working with you ourselves.
I'm looking forward to us doing a lot of good service for a lot of good people. So
Yeah, that's what drives us, is being able to help people find success.
I believe it, and I get that impression from every one of your clients that I talk to. So, Ed, I really appreciate this conversation, and
My pleasure.
I'm looking forward to our next one.
Yes, sir. Me too.
Thank you.
Thank you.